Chapter 4, Hotel Suite Project, Tutorial Number 1. Hi, Joe Cerrone. Welcome to CAD 134, Basic AutoCAD for Interior Design. Today we're going to go through and work on this tutorial. It's a hotel suite with a living room, a little bit of a kitchen and a full bath, and a master bedroom. The learning objectives are to create a real-world application using AutoCAD, create the plan view of the outside walls of the hotel suite, and then to reinforce some of the commands that we have used with AutoCAD from previous chapters. Alright, so this is what the completed project will look like. And in each chapter we'll cover a little bit more. We'll start a new drawing, and actually I think we'll use a title block that I have for this chapter. We'll download that, we'll check the units, we'll use commands like zoom, rectangle, offset, explode, construction line, trim and extend, save and erase. And then as they go through and they detail how to tell you how to draw, they tell you that they'll use these commands and they'll use bold text for the commands. Alright, so here's what the overall view of the hotel floor plan will look like. We're going to create the basic outer shape of it. And it starts off by having us start off just an empty drawing and check the units to be in millimeters. What we're going to do is we're going to go to the module 4 and we're going to download the B-size architectural title block for the hotel suite. So we're going to go here, we're going to say download, and then we're going to open that. Okay, and so I've created the basic rectangle for you. I'm going to come back here to the curriculum. I'm going to move this off to the side here. And essentially, we're on the wall layer. If we check the units, we can just type in units. And we can see that we're working in architectural units. And what I've done is I've gone through and set up the grid and the snap for you. And so if we have the menu bar enabled, which it is, I can go to Tools, Drafting Settings, and I can see that I have snap at 1/4 of an inch and grid on at 1 foot. And what I did was I expanded out the drawing limits so they fit within the drawing. And then what the textbook has us do is it has us create a rectangle. I'm just going to change colors for this to blue, and then I'm going to go to the rectangle command, and then it says to give the first corner to start with. I'm just going to click over next to it just to show you how that works. And so I'll click right here. And then what we'll do is we'll click on the word dimensions, or type D for dimensions. And then we'll type in 36 feet 8 dash 1 divided by 2. Enter. And that will be our width. And then we'll type in 13 feet 6 dash 3 divided by 4. Enter. And then we can either have that go up or down. I'm going to have that go up. And so that's the basic rectangle. And I've already given you the basic rectangle shape here. I just thought I'd start you off with that. You could always go right on top of it and see that. I'm going to delete this out. And so that's the first step. What they have us do is to pick the rectangle command, select D for dimension, type in 36 feet 8.5 inches, enter, and then 13 feet 6 3/4 of an inch, and enter. And you'll get this rectangular shape. And then we can zoom out. You can just turn the wheel on the mouse to zoom out. And then what we're going to do is we're going to offset. We're going to offset 6 inches. And we're going to offset the wall to the outside. And so we'll come back here. We'll select the offset command. We'll type in 6, enter, select the line, and then the outside of it. Once we have offset that line 6 inches to the outside, we're going to explode that, and then we're going to erase the furthest right vertical line. Explode command is right here, so we'll select explode. We'll select this outside. And then if you hover over it, what you'll notice now is that that line is now independent. And the directions wanted us to explode this one also, the inside. So I'm going to explode that also. So again, go to explode, select the inside, hit enter. And now these are single lines. So we exploded both of those rectangles. And then we're going to erase the furthest right vertical line. So now that we have that erased, we're going to go to the next page. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a construction line that's going to be offset 9 inches from that vertical line. And it's going to look like this. So we go to the draw menu and we go to construction line. And then we go to offset. And you can either get offset by clicking on it in the command line here, or you can hit the down arrow key and select offset. We'll type in 9 for 9 inches. You don't have to use the inch mark. Inches is the default. We'll select the line and then the side, and we'll get this 6-inch vertical line. And I've got the blue properties overriding it. I think I'll leave that on. I kind of like that for right now. So we've created this construction. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to extend out these 2 lines right here so that they meet at the construction. And it's actually these 2 outside lines. And then what we'll do after we extend them, we'll trim them. And so we'll do extend to extend those 2 lines out. And then we'll switch over to trim it. 3 pages of text can be done really quite quickly. So we say extend, and then we come over here, we'll extend this line out, pan down, turn the wheel on the mouse, extend that one, and then we'll toggle over to trim, and then we'll come back in here and we'll trim this, and we'll trim this, and there we have created the construction that they've requested us to do. All right, so it looks like that. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to create the window opening that's 10 feet. And so what they've done is they've offset the bottom inside line 1 foot 6 inches, and then they extend it 10 feet. And I believe they used a construction line, yes. And so again, we'll go to the construction line, and we'll select offset, and then we'll type in 1'6", enter, and then we'll select the inside line and the up and above it. And so that's been offset 1 foot 6 inches, and then we'll go back to offset and we'll offset 10 feet. We'll select that line and then above it. There we go. Hit escape. And then what we'll do is we'll trim these lines. And so we'll say trim, trim, trim. Like that. If we want to verify it with a dimension, I'm going to hit the escape key. I'm going to say linear dimension. I have OSNAP enabled, which is this icon right here. And my OSNAP settings are set for endpoints, so it'll grab the endpoints. So I can go linear dimension, endpoint, endpoint, and I can verify that that's 10 feet. I usually like to put the dimensions on the dimension line layer. It's a little thinner. And then if I wanted to, I can set this as by layer. And then it'll match the layer properties as well. So that's that construction right there. Continuing on. That's their trimming command. And then we're going to create this little detail here in the top right hand corner by offsetting 8 3/4 of an inch and 8 1/2 inches respectively to this line here and this line here. And so to do that, what we would do is we would zoom in on the corner, and then we would go to the offset command, and we would type in 8-3 divided by 4, enter. I'll try that again, offset. And I might need the inch mark. It seems to be picky. It worked. And then we'll repeat the offset command, right mouse click, repeat offset, but we'll change the value to 8-1 divided by 2, 8 1/2. And then we'll offset this line to this side. And then we'll trim. You can just go directly to the trim command and it'll override and jump right into it. And so we'll trim this out so that it looks like this detail right there. And there we go. We can use match properties to match these back to the right colors. And so match properties is right here, source, and then the destinations will match those properties. And we can do the same down here with match properties. And so we go match properties, source, match, match. Continuing. Okay, so that's how they create the 8 1/2 inch and 8 3/4 inch offsets. And then they trim them, and then they zoom into the corner over here, and we're going to create this window opening here. And we're going to use the same techniques. We're going to zoom in, and then we're going to offset 2 feet 1 inch and then 4 feet 4 inches from that inside interior wall line. And we'll extend them out and trim them. Same technique. So I'm going to pan over, zoom in a little bit. I'm going to go to offset. I'm going to offset 2 feet 1 inch, this line here to this side. Repeat the offset command, and I'm going to offset then 4 feet 4 inches. And then I'm going to extend those lines. And then I'm going to trim them. Again, if you want to verify those with the dimension, this time I'm going to switch over to that layer. I say dimension, I'm going to say by layer, linear dimension. And we can put a linear dimension here. We can see that I'm 2 feet 1 inch, and then I can go and put another linear dimension. And 4 feet 4 inches, just as it says in the directions. Okay, now that we've offset and trimmed, we're going to create this little segue for the entryway. And again, we're going to offset and trim. So we're going to offset the interior line, line A, 1 foot 6 inches, and then we're going to offset that 2 feet 2.5 inches. And that'll give us this little segue here. And then we'll offset that line that we offset the other one 6 inches to get the wall thickness. All right, so we're going to create this construction right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to offset from this little window opening right here 2 feet 2.5 inches, and then 1 feet 6 inches. And so here's how that works out. We go into the offset command. We type in 2 feet 2 dash 1 divided by 2, enter. We select this line right here down to that side. And then what we'll do is we'll offset 1 foot 6 inches this way. And then we'll extend that line out. And then we'll trim it. And I'm not going to trim that part yet because we've got to offset to the inside 6 inches to the inside. So we'll say offset 6. And now we can start to trim. And this one we're going to need to extend. And then we can trim it. And that's that segue there for the door opening. It looks to me like we're going to put a cutout here for the entryway next. So that's the offset technique. And then what we're going to do is we're going to offset from this bottom line here 3 feet to get the door opening. We can verify these measurements just to check if we want to. We can come over here and put a dimension from this top corner here to this bottom corner. It should be 1 foot 8 inches. I'll come back to that. I'm pretty sure that was 1 foot 8 inches. So I haven't put the door opening in there yet. I see. We need to offset 1 foot 8 inches and then 3 feet from that. That's how that's going to work because this isn't there yet. So we go to offset 1 foot 8 inches. And we're going to select this line here and that side. And then we're going to go back to offset again, and we're going to offset that 3 feet. Like that. Trim. And then if we want to, we can put a linear dimension on just to check those numbers. All right. Now we're going to save the file. We're going to save the file You can save it as your initials - hotel suite, and that will complete this exercise. So before we go through and save it, I'm going to go and hit the layout tab for floor plan. I've got the viewport set up for you at 1/4 of an inch equals a foot. I have the viewport locked, so that means that you could work inside of the viewport, and if we print this on a B-size piece of paper, we can scale it. If we unlock the viewport, you can see that the dimensions will change. The idea is to scale the viewport to an actual measurable size. And so if we were setting this up from scratch and we found our drawing like this in there, what we would do is we would go to the scale icon, and then we would choose, typically I'll start with 1/8 and see if 1/8 works. Doesn't work. It works, it's just there's more drafting room there, more space on the paper to use, so I like to use as much of the paper as possible. So I'll go to 1/4 of an inch equals a foot, and then I'll pan it, and then I'll lock in that scale in that viewport. I'll then double click outside. I'll update the floor plan scale to be 1/4 of an inch equals a foot, and OK that. And then I'll double click here. Put your name there. This is CAD 134. Hotel Suite Chapter 4. Put the date on. And put the scale on. Save the file. I'm just going to add next to it because I've done this once before for the recording. And that takes care of how to create the hotel suite from Chapter 4.